What's up, y'all? Erroneous here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. In today's video, I want to go over whether or not Mountain King and Blind Seer are going to be meta in today's day and age with their new buffs. So let's get into it. Alright, I am a little late to the scene with this one, but stay tuned. I'll go over my thought process on whether or not Mountain King is meta or Blind Seer is meta, and I'll go over their kits separately, of course. So before Mountain King, we're going to go over him first. He had just attacks one enemy on the A1, super basic. It did do really good damage, solid damage, but not strong against people like UDK, so on and so forth. He just got hard nerfed, basically. So attacks one enemy, fills this champ's turn meter by 10%, and fills by an additional 2% for each buff on the target that they're attacking. So is that very strong? It's decent in certain situations. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to ramp up his abilities to take more turns faster. This could be strong if there's no UDK or, of course, no Harima so far, because Harima and UDK just absolutely nerf this guy into the ground. On his A2, Enchanted Axe attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense. That was his ability before, and it was on a 5-turn cooldown, which is very long. Now, attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense, and grants an extra turn if it kills an enemy. Much better, much better. We want people that are just single target champions to be able to take extra turns. If not, they're just not good in any meta whatsoever. That alone will allow him to do more for anybody's account if you have him, especially if he's one of your main nukers. And he is I think his damage is based on attack as well as HP, and it scales really well. So he can nuke, he can definitely hit hard, but the issue is if they have a UDK or a Harima, then you're just not going to beat them unless you can strip their buffs, and then you can nuke. With the instance of the addition of tons of new champions that strip in the game, you got Mikage, you've got Armands, you've got Fabian. So I can't say that it's not doable with Mountain King. It's more doable than it was before. I think he can definitely have a little bit more playtime nowadays, especially if you want to take him out of the vault for a little spin. Tag Team Arena, Classic Arena, he's definitely going to be a lot stronger there than in Live Arena, because people are going to know the play style of Mountain King at this point, and if they don't know, then that's just a huge mistake, or they're newer in the game. I think that just this alone does allow him to be taken out of the vault because of the grants an extra turn on a kill, and the Enchanted Axe hits very hard. So especially when it ignores 50% of the target's defense. You also have the instance of relics in the game now, something like Cat's Gaze, which ignores 25% of the target's defense, and then put him in a lethal set with Stone Skin, ignore another 25%, and guess what? You ignore 100% of the target's defense, so you're almost guaranteeing a kill unless they have like an unkillable on them, you know, like with Swift Parry, or maybe they have block damage. Then that skill right there doesn't go through block damage or unkillable, which I don't really like that about his kit, but I guess it is what it is. I wish they allowed him to even potentially go through Stone Skin on that ability. But then we're going to read this one. So Regal Force attacks one enemy, will ignore shield and block damage buff on a 5-turn cooldown. You also have to keep in mind his cooldowns are very long, and I don't really like that. And I'm not sure if they can be booked down. Let me just double check his actual kit. Oh, I can't check it right now because I'm in game. You know what? We'll go ahead and stop the multi-battle. So right now his abilities can be booked down to a 4-turn on Enchanted Axe, not that great, and a 4-turn on Regal Force. So thank God he has an ability to gain turn meter and to potentially grant an extra turn, because these are very long cooldowns. That's what's holding him back right now, in my opinion. That's very, very bad. So let's continue to read. What's the after? Attacks one enemy, will ignore a shield, strengthen, unkillable, ally protection, and block damage. So who are those good against? Anybody in Swift Parry, anybody in block damage. Shield and strengthen, that's really good against Void, Legendary, Necrit. So Necrit is actually very strong with the ally protection. As you can see here, he does block, debuffs, ally protection, and strengthen. So you can one-shot through a Necrit protection, but is it that worth it? Like, how many players are using Necrit at this point in time? I'm sure there's a good amount, but he's not utilized as often in Live Arena, and he's mainly probably in Arena, like Classic Arena and Tag Team Arena. So that is strong to be able to take on the likes of Necrit, but the meta is mythical champions at this point. So maybe it's going to be stronger against someone like a Siegfried, but again, he's killing them, decreases the cooldown of Enchanted Axe by 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. And because it enchanted axe is on a 5 turn, it books down to a 4 turn. It takes too long to get back around to the enchanted axe, in my opinion. So you would literally have to start off with the enchanted axe, and then after you do the enchanted axe, you need to go into the Regal Force right afterwards. And then the Regal Force has to kill somebody. If not, you won't be able to use the enchanted axe right away on the next turn, potentially. So I think they should have brought the enchanted axe cooldown to a 4 turn instead of a 5 turn and book it down to a 3 turn. I think the Regal Force should have been put down to a 4 turn and then bookable to a 3 turn as well, because his cooldowns are too long in my opinion. So it is nice that he can decrease the cooldown of the enchanted axe, but it's not going to be enough in my opinion, because if you're only utilizing him as the damage dealer, in most cases, he's just going to get taken out, especially if he's facing someone like a Marichka. If he's only taking out one person at a time, you better hope he can one-shot the Marichka. If he can't one-shot the Marichka, you're going to have problems. So, and then you'll just get taken out yourself. So you always have to take out the Marichka first, mostly, unless you can CC them. So he has to be paired with really good crowd-controlled champions, people that can help stun them, sleep them, petrify them, like Fabian, for example, fear them with Fabian. And then he can go in there and try to pick them off one by one. You want to put him with an ally attacker, preferably Mikage, someone like a Farrak in the Fat if you're earlier mid-game. Maybe if you have him, you have a Lanatharil. He's also an ally attacker. There's multiple ally attackers you can utilize, but Mikage would probably be one of the better ones with the increased attack and the increased crit damage. So he's going to be very strong with her. And then also you have Padreg. Padreg is very strong now too. So Padreg could be strong with Mountain King. I could see some use cases for Mountain King at this point, but is he going to be meta? Right now, looking at this, he's going to be very niche off meta. He's not going to be meta. He's going to be off meta. So niche situations definitely could be utilized against the Siegfried though. Fabled skill passive. Increase this champion's attack by 50% each time this champion kills an enemy. It stacks up to 100% and resets each round. Now it's changed to the same thing, but they added immune to decrease attack and block active skills, which is a nice touch. Now I wish they gave him something more for survivability in his kit. Maybe he stacks a big shield on himself when he kills an enemy so that you don't have to add that into the masteries for him. That's actually really good if you can get the mastery that stacks a big shield based on killing an enemy. So that's going to be strong on him. But I wish they gave him a little bit more survivability in his kit. Something that allows counterattacks in his kit, kind of similar to Samson the Masher, who is one of my favorite champions for an HP nuker in the game. I know that he's not the strongest HP nuker in the game, but he is very strong in general. And Samson destroys Mountain King most of the time. He's Samson's Spirit Affinity. He gets counterattacks every time he gets crit, and he can counterattack on weak hits as well. So he just destroys him, and he has a stun on the A1 with the Samson the Masher. So that just outranks Mountain King. If they made the turn meter fill a little bit better, then possibly like maybe fills the champion's turn meter by 25% and then fills additional 2%, then we're talking a little bit more, because then he can take a turn faster, way faster. Then he's going to be ramping up like crazy, but he's not taking a ton of turns. So then the aura is increase ally attack in all battles by 25%. A pretty weak aura, to be honest. Now, he never had an aura before, so they're adding an aura for him, which is nice. But again, that's not the best aura. You want him in like a speed aura, HP percent aura, because he's an HP nuker along with attack. But yeah, he's going to hit way harder than before. He's going to ignore things. I think he's going to be a solid champion. He's definitely up there as a B+, maybe an A- or an A tier champion now. He's not S tier. He's definitely A tier. I'm gonna give him a solid A tier for this. Let's move on to the next champion. All right, so for Blind Seer, we've got her updates as well. She's kind of an old but gold champion. Not gold, but silver maybe. So she had before attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 30% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 15%. It books out to a 40% chance, which is not bad. So you're going to land at least one of them potentially, but this is way better of a buff. Attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has an 80% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 10%. books out to 100% chance. So guaranteed 3 hits is going to decrease the turn meter by 10% each, 30% turn meter reduction. Very, very strong. So amazing now. Like, I'm insane in normal mode Fire Knight up to stage 25. Super simple. General areas of the game like Faction Wars, hard mode, she's going to be very strong against the boss. Just keep using the A1. And she's going to be really difficult to go against in the waves as well, because you see Blind Seer a ton in the wave content for Faction Wars. On the A2, Dark Shroud places block debuff buff on all allies for 2 turns, then places a shield buff on allies equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns, which is not bad. Now they've added heals all allies by 20% of this champ's max HP, on top of placing the block debuffs and the shield buff. So I do like that. That's a lot stronger. She's going to be a menace to go against in the waves now with the healing, but I think she still won't be like insane in the waves. You can CC her pretty easily. So on her passive, or no, this is not a passive. This is self-sacrifice, another active skill. The basic one, let's go to the ascended one, because obviously you're going to want to ascend the champion. Most people are not going to have her unascended unless you're really early game. But the ascended version before revives all dead allies, 35% HP, places block damage on them, except this champion for 1 turn on a 6-turn cooldown, which I believe is bookable to a 5 or 4-turn cooldown right now. Let me just double check on that one. Blind Seer, I do have her on my pay-to-win account. So this books down to a 5-turn cooldown, which is actually a really long time. That's really bad. So let's see what they changed it to. Ascended revives all dead allies with 50% turn meter, 50% HP and 30% turn meter. That's not bad. Also places block damage on all allies except this champion. They just changed the cooldown 1 down. So it's now going to be 5-turn cooldown, bookable to a 4-turn cooldown. That's 10 times better than what it was. Is it still pretty bad? It's not the best, but the block damage does make her very strong. And she has ally defense in all battles currently by 34% on the aura, if you take a look here on the aura. So she is much stronger than she was, but she's definitely not insane. She's very strong now. I think she's going to be very, very good against the new boss, the dungeon boss, for the event dungeon. So Kurosa, she's going to be good against Kurosa. I wish she had grants an extra turn on something. Like this one here, if she could do grants an extra turn, like revive everybody, right? And then grant an extra turn, and then do the block debuffs and healing, that would be God tier. She would be God tier. So she would like S tier in my opinion. But she doesn't have the grants an extra turn mechanic, so that's kind of frustrating. So I think she's going to be very strong now against the boss, but in particular, I think Mountain King is also going to be strong potentially against the boss if he takes a lot of turns, but who knows? He could potentially get some really big hits on the boss though, because of what he has for extra turn mechanic. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you on a video soon. Take care.